Hi, this is Father Louis SCURTI. Sister Claire Marie. Sister told us how she discerned that name, Claire Marie. Every sister has Mary or Marie as part of their name, and they choose the main name. Both her superior at that time and sister herself, during that period of discernment, came up with the name of Saint Clare, who is the foundress of the Poor Clares, and that's why we're here with Sister Claire Marie today. Thank you very much. These interviews have been so interesting. Now I'm going to get to the inside. Okay, the sign is not there, but is there a sign there that says, okay, some of the signs on the doors yesterday said enclosure, okay? Yes. And I know what that means, don't go in, basically.
Okay, yes.
I want you to, as much as you can, tell us about what goes on behind the walls of the enclosure.
Sure.
For the audience, when we come into the whole complex, there's a doorbell, come in, and there's a little window, and there's usually a receptionist there, not necessarily a sister. Some lay people have been volunteers there.
That's right.
And then we get in touch with Sister Colette or you or Sister Faustina. But what goes on beyond the walls?
Okay. Well, our life here in the Poor Clares is very much hinged on prayer. We come together as a community, I think it's 7 times during the day, to pray the Divine Office together. Then each of us has a half an hour before the Blessed Sacrament in prayer each day. And then in the midst of all of that, we have work duties. Like there are sisters allocated to the kitchen, to the sacristy.
Just to, to interrupt there, when I walked in this morning, what's Colette's title? Superior?
Mother Abbess.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Mother Abbess had her habit on, and had an apron over her habit, and she was, they call it hoovering here. She was vacuuming the rugs. And I said, oh, even you did that. First is last. And she says, it's all for show. It wasn't for show. She was cleaning. So everybody divides tasks.
Yes, and she gets on board, and
Absolutely.
she helps us with that. Yeah, so there's those various duties, like the kitchen, the sacristy. We've 2 sisters who are portresses. That during COVID, because we didn't have our volunteers in, there was 2 sisters assigned at the door.
Okay.
Now there would generally have been a sister assigned to the door, but a volunteer would call a sister, page a sister if she was needed, because sometimes a person might be happy enough to come to the monastery to write a petition, to give it to the volunteer, and to go again. But then there are times where they would like to talk to a sister. So the sister who was on duty would then go out and meet the person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's always that personal contact.
There's the personal contact
with people who come.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And is there a certain location in which the sister would meet that person?
Well, at the moment, I suppose with COVID, there's been a window that has been partly opened.
Okay.
And there's also another kind of a half door with a canopy that if it was raining, where the person can come to. And
right. And this would be for men and women who come?
Yes.
Okay, so the freedom is there.
Freedom is there.
Does that happen a lot?
Oh, yes, yeah. Many people come here asking for prayers.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the heart of the diocese, of course, Galway itself, but the heart of the diocese.
Yes, and the people of Galway are so good to us.
In what way?
Praying for us, and also bringing groceries. Like we live on Providence, so I suppose we depend on the goodness of others.
Francis founded the order as mendicants.
Yes.
Would you be mendicants? Mendicants are religious who beg for food, but
Well, no, we don't, because we don't go out.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but I suppose we're dependent on what comes in.
Wow,
you know.
interesting.
So people bring food to us, but also people are very generous with donations in gratitude for prayers.
Right,
the prayers
right,
that we
right.
say for them.
The first time I came here years ago with Jerry, his family lives local, as you know. His uncle followed us in on a bread truck, and he worked for a bread company.
That's
and
right.
He was delivering bread.
And
yes. Wow. And that's part of the donations. I was so surprised.
That's right. Yes.
So you are basically fed on the donations of the people.
Yes.
Wow. Does anyone go out shopping?
No, we don't. We only go out. We go out for a medical appointment.
Right.
That optician, that kind of thing. But otherwise, we wouldn't. A formation course every few years, we would go on, because there is no one monastery that could accommodate all the other monasteries to come for a course. We go out for formation. It's a formation course for a few days.
Okay, we call it continuous ed. So
yes.
Continuous education.
Yes.
So that's great.
And only a few people would go to that at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the monastery has to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Bring us back into the monastery. So what goes on here?
So,
you have prayer 7 times a day.
Yeah, we rise at, get up around I get up about 5:15 to be down in the choir or prayer area for 5:45. Then we do a half an hour of meditation. And then we have kind of a 15-minute space where you can, make your bed, or you could do the Stations of the Cross, or do something like that, yourself. And then we come back together at 6:30 for the morning prayer.
At 6:30.
6:30.
I love the way you say it. I love the way you say
6:30. And then we have our breakfast about at 7.
Yes. Breakfast, I mean, I think of the pictures of monastic living. Yes. Is the breakfast in silence and someone reading, or is it?
Yes, our breakfast is in silence.
Okay.
Yes.
Does someone read from?
Not at breakfast, at dinner time.
Okay.
We have somebody reading, yes, out of the Ordo, the liturgical book.
Religious reading. Okay,
religious,
good.
Yes.
Good.
And we have a martyrology as well that we read from.
Right.
So that's the early morning start of our prayer. Well, I suppose it would be earlier for the people who have been up the night before. It's called matins, where the people that are allocated get up to be down in the choir for prayer for 12 o'clock, the Divine Office for 12 o'clock. And there's the Divine Office, and then there's a half an hour of meditation. So it's up until 1:45.
Okay.
And then they go back to bed, and then they get up again for 5:45 meditation. One of the sisters was interviewed once, and she said she was asked about our life and prayer and matins and that, and she said, "Oh, it's great, we get to go to bed twice." Not we have to get up twice, we go to bed twice.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because you're always praying.
Oh, yeah. But then we have the breakfast at 7. We finish at about 7:15. We go off and we prepare for Mass. Mass is at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And so that's our time to try and fit in Lectio Divina, to focus on the scriptures.
Right.
And then Mass then is up until about 8:30, and then we have some Thanksgiving time, and then we have more Divine Office, what's called terce, a small hour of prayer, and the Office for the Dead, and then we leave the choir, apart from the person that's behind doing their adoration, time of adoration.
Right.
And we start our work then.
Just let me interrupt there. The adoration is interesting because, enough for the audience, as I mentioned in the previous episode, the church is divided into the public arena and the private, and the wall is open, so when the priest is celebrating Mass, the sisters as well as the lay people can participate. But above that is a tabernacle, and that I thought that was very interesting. And that opens on both sides.
Yes.
For adoration, when the sisters are in adoration, they open it up on their side, and for the public adoration, I've seen it open on our side as well.
Yes. Now, the main time that it would be, it wouldn't be opened, let's say, perpetually for the public.
Right.
It would be maybe it might be a special occasion. I know we've had it opened before, where we had a group of students visit here for, it was called a prayer and pizza evening.
Oh, I've seen that. Right.
Prayer and pizza evening. So the Blessed Sacrament was exposed then for that, maybe for that time of prayer.
Right.
But generally, it wouldn't be opened to the outside. Like there was a time before COVID. Like we haven't opened up to the public yet after COVID, but before COVID we did have benediction on a Sunday evening. So the Blessed Sacrament was exposed on the altar. Right. It was enthroned on the altar.
Okay.
Yeah.
The banging you might hear, we hear it in the background, is scaffolding. Sister Colette explained before Mass that they're having a piece of the roof of the monastery renovated. And this monastery is, the foundation is like 300 years old, isn't it?
Yes.
So
yes,
the roof is being renovated. So ignore this banging. It's practical living.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through the morning and eventually lunch.
Then the work, and then your work continues whatever area that you're in. Up until the next prayer time would be 12. Okay. 12 o'clock, midday prayer. Okay. Otherwise called sext. And that goes on till about 20 past 12. And then we have our dinner up until 1 o'clock. Okay. And then we continue with work. Again, the next time of prayer would be 3 o'clock. That's called known. And after the next prayer time would be 6 o'clock in the evening, the Angelus and the Divine Office, and then Compline night prayer would be 9. It would be the last one. Now that's about 7:45. We have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, finishes at about 8:15, and then we retire to our rooms, and we try to be off the corridors by 9 o'clock. Because, to be fair, I suppose to be fair to the people who are going to be up for the matins that night, but also it's called, St. Clare called it the Great Silence.
Yeah, Magna Silentia.
But yes, once you go to your room, that it's more silent.
Right.
Yes.
Silence is a major part of the life here.
Yes, well, silence. Yes, it is important that we try to do our work, our chores, and that in a kind of a prayerful way. We're not completely silent like some orders, like Carthusians, right? Where St. Clare said it's okay to speak when necessary in a low voice, but it's to keep. It's in order to try and keep that prayerful space of contemplation, Right. Yes, we do. We try to keep that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What are some of the chores that sisters, besides sacristy and the porter at the main door, and cooking?
Sacristy, dusting, cleaning. Yeah. We have.
And the place is immaculate, by the way. Clean.
we have what's called a big clean on a Saturday.
Stop it!
We're cleaning during the week, but it's called a big clean. It's where a number of us kind of come together.
And families have that same thing.
Yes, so it's
probably not enough.
No, it's great because an important part of the Poor Clare way of life is community.
Yes, okay.
That was very important for St. Clare, the focus of community, where like teamwork,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
coming together, you know, it's
What are some of the challenges of teamwork and living in a community of other women?
Other women. Well, I would say that we're all probably very different.
Oh,
We're all quite different.
Sure.
Different backgrounds.
And ages too. I
different
noticed
ages.
yesterday.
Yes.
I mean, no names, but
Yeah.
what is the oldest sister you have here?
She would be early 90s.
God bless her. Wow.
Yes.
And she's been here all her life.
She was with the Bon Secours sisters, the Blue Nuns were called.
Yes, yes.
For a number of years, and then joined here. But she's here many years. I think she'll be here 56 years. I guess.
Great.
A long time anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. Never going out except for medical reasons.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. See, that's the piece that a lot of people just can't get.
Yes. Well, I would say that. That God gives us the grace to do it.
Absolutely.
That a grace definitely comes with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know at the very start, when I was settling, trying to settle, I probably felt like, let me out. I wanted to jump the wall, or I wanted to have the freedom. I wanted to have the freedom to go and jump into a taxi and go off like I would have done beforehand. But you couldn't. So it's a process of settling and gradually entering into the order and
the rhythm of it.
The rhythm of it.
Because it's certainly a full day.
It's a full day.
And prayer is so significantly involved with that full day.
Yes, and it is the work and the prayer. It's the prayer structure that actually helps you.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the word. Acclimatizing.
Oh, okay, right.
That's the right word.
Right. Well, it'll work. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that
it holds the whole day together.
Holds the whole day together.
Yeah.
And it's the love of our sisters that helps. So we help each other. We're trying to help each other.
Right.
You know, a day that you might be up, somebody else might be down, and we're carrying each other.
Yeah, because your personalities are all different too, and that because you put the habit on, you all look alike. You're not alike.
We're not
alike.
There's
people in there.
Yes.
And you brought your personality, and Colette and Faustina.
And sisterly love, fraternal love, was a big thing for St. Clare.
Yeah.
So I know we're always working on it. But that we try to have that kind of an atmosphere
and the fact that when it was founded, the order may have been more severe than you live now, but it stayed, it lived, existed, and then spread out of Italy throughout the world. And the provincial yesterday explained the history of the convent who eventually started here.
Yes.
300 years ago. But it's fascinating that there are so many monasteries around the world that keep this rhythm.
Yes, it's amazing, really.
It really is. And it supports the world in prayer.
It supports the world, yeah. It is amazing, really.
And you and I need the prayers that sisters here and throughout the world are constantly offering. And that's why it's so significant and symbolic that people from outside, the lay people, can come in and leave a petition of prayer or request prayers to know that this is a holy place of prayer, and how vital that is for our existence as Christians. It's like our breathing.
Yes.
And you're helping us breathe so we can go back out in the world and live as husbands and wives, as children, as students.
Yes,
And that's,
yes.
it's just beautiful.
Yeah, we have received letters back from people saying how they were unburdened when they left their prayers here, and some miracles that happened through the prayers here. Yeah.
Does one sister have the responsibility of reading the mail, or is it shared? How do you, I mean, that's a little tidbit.
Yes, generally Mother Colette would, she would get the petitions, and then they would be left out for the sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, to read. Yeah.
Because I know I have, and Jerry has sent petitions, but that's how the sisters share them.
Yes.
Because I brought, even this trip, I brought petitions from New York, from families who wanted prayers.
Yes.
So we brought them, but...
Yes, Mother Colette would pass it on to us.
Yeah.
So we're all praying as a community for all these intentions.
Yeah. And prayer is so important for every Catholic and every Christian, every person, because it's a connection with God. But you and I are busy out there, and these sisters, as you heard, focus on prayer, and their prayer is constantly being presented to God on our behalf and on your behalf, as your own behalf.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Are there any other segments of the life that you think I don't know about that we should know about or could know about?
I'm trying to think. Thinking of the day. Well, I suppose that when I mentioned earlier about community being very important.
Yes.
We have. I think it's important to mention that we have about half an hour of recreation.
Oh, okay.
Every evening. And that's where we come together as a community and kind of have a chat, kind of light-hearted chat.
Right.
And that's and maybe you might bring up something from during the day. Somebody maybe that you heard from, you got a letter from, or it could be something that happened for a family member or a friend, or you might have got a photograph from somebody. It could be anything, really.
That's interesting. So family members can send letters to, or friends, specific sisters.
They can write to us.
Okay.
In the early stages of my formation, it would be limited, the amount of posts that I could get.
Sure.
Yeah, but family generally would write to us around at Christmas, Easter time.
Okay.
And they can visit around those times as well.
Okay.
Easter,
that's another interesting piece. Visitation. What's the normal way of visiting the convent?
For our family, we would be in contact with them to organise a day and a time. And as I say, it's around. We're allowed 4 visits in the year.
Okay.
Christmas, Easter, summer, and autumn. Yes.
Okay. And they visit in one of those rooms?
Yes, one of the parlours.
And on previous interviews, you would have seen Sister Colette behind the screen, and they're really just 3 bars, pretty much like this. Was this created to give an impression of the separation of the public from the cloister?
Yes, it's a symbol.
Okay, so this table comes apart, and if they need it bigger or smaller. And yesterday, all the sisters were here.
We were all in behind here, yeah.
We had such a good time, and everybody filled this room. And there was singing back and forth. Does that happen often? Because you had booklets, sing-along booklets.
That wouldn't happen that often. I suppose a profession like this, that would be a profession like this. Maybe one of the sisters had her silver jubilee. But if there was a jubilee, maybe, or something like this, an occasion for
yes, and everybody joined in
for celebration. Yeah,
it was wonderful.
It was great.
It was wonderful. But it was interesting because the spirit of the cloister, the separation, stayed, because the sisters sat here and we sat out here. So that's a very modern contemporary way of maintaining the cloister and yet seeing people.
Yes,
people
you're still able to interact
yes,
with people.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. As we close, what is the most significant aspect of your life here, right now? Not in the future, not in the past, but right now.
Well, for me, it's giving my life completely to God in this way of life, and so it's praying for humanity, really. Yeah.
God bless you. I am overwhelmed with this beautiful ministry and Sister Claire's sharing of her life and the history of the order with us. If you want to know more about St. Clare and St. Francis of Assisi, go online, you can Google them. And there's a beautiful movie that was created a few years ago. I forgot who the author was, but it was Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. It gives a nice overview of the sisters. And Clare, who left her own family to create the Poor Clares.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sister. I really appreciate
You're
that,
welcome.
and my audience does it
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you, Father Louis.
And we'll be back.
Yes. Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And God bless you. Keep in touch.
God bless.
And I'll put all the contact information on our last page.
Yes.
And you can contact Sister Colette or Sister Claire Marie or any other sisters. And for prayer, attention, questions, or vocations, there's plenty of room for a few more of you to join. God bless you. This is Father Lou and Sister Claire Marie.